And I will confirm to you that the Grand Coalition government actually found and entered into a contract of build, operate, and transfer with some people through the World Bank and IMF. No. And the matter was brought to Parliament, and we passed it. We do not know, since you are one of the high-ranking honkers in Jubilee, could you tell us?
He's a chairman of Transport Committee.
Oh, so I don't go there.
Yeah.
Could you give us hope? Yes. Because we were expecting that President Uhuru and his deputy would prioritize that particular project, which already had been agreed upon by the government of Mwai Kibaki.
For purposes of our viewers to know, actually, that road is due for launch before December this year, and works intended to commence. So I believe that's going to be done urgently from somewhere near Airtel there, all the way to Westlands. Yes. Yeah, and I believe that's going to help the city a lot. But see, Bonnie, unless that is accompanied by precisely what you said, build that double-decker road, accompanied with interchanges in between, because it's a principle in traffic management all the time that really, even if you expanded a road into 10 lanes, immediately you expanded traffic doubles, because it's in the psychology of people that once they know within an area that now you have built thicker road and expanded it, everybody wants to go there because they want to move quickly. And the sense in investing, like for example in interchanges, is because of the efficiency and not necessarily the expansion. So I believe if the two are done with priorities, Debarl have been lobbying Kenha, let me say so, when I'm here. For example, if you look at the crossing here between Uhuru Park and where we have Parliament and Mausoleum, go to that place on a Sunday, and you can't believe the number of people having to jostle their way and negotiate through traffic. Literally hundreds of thousands of people every Sunday, every Saturday, even daily. And why can't we just have a footbridge in a place like that? If you take that road that Senator is talking about, former Senator Halwale, at somewhere near Airtel there, and you find a man takes his risk all the time with traffic that's flying past to run to the road with a board to stop traffic for people to cross every 10 minutes. I think those are things that really must be done in my view. Right. And like you said, we'll give hope because we'll take it up and ensure that.
But Debarl, you know what Bonnie is talking about? The approval we gave was like a double-decker road from the Machakos turnoff.
Exactly.
To near Limuru, beyond Kangemi. The reason that never took place, and I would have thought Wamatangi would clear there, that the owners of this building where Nakumatt sits opposite Nyayo refused, because it would have gone with their parking. Because you would have needed to do the pillars. So, Wamatangi, it would be nice to tell Nairobians if that has been sorted out, because I hear they are from your village, the powerful people who refused.
This is the deep state.
Japa is trying to get even with me.
This is the deep state. The deep state from Kenya.
Because Debarl, you know my roots. I've said it here. Bonnie Halwale can tell you he has evidence of the businesses that I do. How can a man who is doing the business of running a car cleaning service also own Nakuma?
I didn't say it is you.
Anyway, of course, our business, but I believe from what we got.
Why are you belittling car cleaning service?
No.
In fact, I want to thank you so that the people of Kakamega can hear.
Yes.
There's one of the boys from Kakamega who you don't know has been cleaning cars at your car wash in Nairobi West, and he was using that money to pay his school fees at the university. The guy was graduating last year, So you've done a big job. I didn't want to tell you because you would start bragging.
you know, Bunny, let me just put this in the record, Debarl.
Yes.
You know, in that place, by the way, I was not trying to belittle it. I do other business. I'm a real estate developer. I do other things. But that is the core of where my heart is. If I could count the number of young people I've transformed here. Do you know, Debarl, one day I went into a presidential function. And then as I'm about to speak, then who approaches me? This big guy called Big Ted. Big Ted comes to me and tells me, you know, you can't remember me, but do you know you gave me my first job after college, and the job you gave me was at your car sales and car cleaning. And then so you know, and that's how we struck it. And so many. I've got people who are managers in banks and who came first there to, as Bonnie have rightly said, and their pennies first to go and pay their university education. Kibera can tell the story. The number of young people who walk from Kibera and Nyayo slums in South B to come and make a life out of there are big. So I believe it's a good thing. That's why I support it, irrespective of what else I'm doing, you know, to make sure that we can lift people from that level.
But maybe as we are on this a bit, especially on the road bit, it's good also to tell Kenyans, because we had this red strip, you know, being painted along Thika Highway until today. Yeah. And we've had promissory notes from the Ministry of Transport that yes, we're going to be having those buses. Kenyans are still eagerly waiting to see these buses. This was since last year. Yeah. You can bring us up to speed as far as this is concerned, and how will it also change, you know, the mode of transportation along that particular road?
Yeah, Debarl, if you look at
because the paint is wearing off.
If you
can attest to that fact, it is actually wearing off.
If you look at look at the development of Outer Ring Road, the way it's done all the way, you can see it has clearly made facilitation for BRT operation. On Thika Highway, that is one of the first roads where it was intended that this would pilot, and plans are underway. There was a bit of change of offices within the Namata authority who are directly responsible for this in the ministry. I know they have since then restructured and work is underway. I was part of the team that was discussing this very recently with some people from Sweden who are making some offers and others here. And I believe it is way on course. And it is going to change the lives of people, Debarl. And I would take your cue. We have to pressure the ministry and the authority to make sure that Kenyans can realize this. If there is one thing that Nairobi needs right now, it is an efficient, effective, mass rapid transport system for people. I mean, we cannot solve this, and we have to be clear on this. We cannot solve the problem in Nairobi by expanding roads, no matter how much we expand roads. We must give efficient solutions, and that is beginning with a mass transport system for
All right, thank you. We're still on paper review, but also you need to weigh in on this a bit now that we have legislators here. This is in the Star this morning, and it's bound also to spark a lot of debate as far as this is concerned. The Star. Now MPs want to get rid of 47 women reps. Big blow. House committee says seats not intended to be permanent. Women leaders and other furious say proposal will be shut down. This story also continues on page 2 of the Star this morning. Otena Molo, on this, maybe you can also weigh in, because this has been a ticklish issue as far as gender and that particular bill is concerned. People are also saying we might be facing a constitutional crisis if that 2/3 gender rule is not really implemented by now. What is the way forward? And we can see all this is still simmering, and women are taking special umbrage with such kind of also headlines.
Well, as you'll see on the 4th paragraph, the 4th column there, I'd already commented on it.
The 4th column?
Yes, on page 2.
Page 2 of the Star.
Yeah, the journalists actually sought my view, and I said only 2 things. One is that essentially would be one of those amendments that might require a referendum. But secondly, that the fundamental question should be, what was the objective in creating those positions, and has it been achieved? Now, I think it might be perhaps premature to discuss this, because the context of the proposals I think has not crystallized. But I'm sure that the question of the representation of either gender, and specifically the question of the women's seat, will definitely come for a serious discussion when we discuss the possibility of amending the constitution in the context of the BBI and the possibility of a referendum in that context, which I support. But it will not be an easy discussion, because the discussion will be starting, one, from a point of not having met the expectation of the constitution as it is now,
Yes.
to a point of debating whether you still need those positions, which were meant to, you know, to bridge the gender gap, but which has not been bridged to date. So I think it's a discussion which we will have to have. What has been the achievement of our colleagues who have been elected as women representatives? Have they stayed true to the cause of representing the gender that they were elected to represent? Have we as parliament failed, because we have actually failed to meet the expectations of the constitution, and how do we navigate it? It will be an interesting
It
discussion.
will be interesting, fantastic, and that is what is on the front page of the Star. Make sure you grab a copy of for that. People Daily is holding this splash for us this morning, and it says that CBK, this is why. This is an old one actually. Let me try and pick the correct one. See, it is actually mixed up here. Just show you what we have on the front page of the People Daily this morning. This is what you're waking up to. Governors hit streets over funding crisis. County bosses accuse MPs of stifling devolution. Want Apex Court to intervene. And we had the governors here yesterday, and we're saying this is an exercise in futility as far as intervening or seeking the advisory opinion from a court is concerned. Because all this is tucked away in the Constitution. And it's just the implementation bit that is not actually being realized as far as the Division of Revenue Bill is concerned. And the biggest question was the fact that we have another bill that is being fronted by Mutula Kilonzo to actually make sure that Article 110, subsection 3 of the Constitution is realized, where we can have concurrence. If we have a bill from the National Assembly and a bill from the Senate, we can have concurrence with the speakers as far as that is concerned. That is in the Constitution. Why would the governors actually be heading to court to seek an advisory opinion about this? I don't know. Briefly, you can comment on this before we go to the stories of the day. Yeah, let's begin with the Senator Cheriot.
I think what the governors are doing is that they want to carry the country with them with regards to the current stalemate that is being experienced with regards to division of revenue, that they'd wish the courts to pronounce themselves. Supreme Court in advisory opinion number 3 of 2013 already made this decision about whether, how division of revenue bill should be considered. And that is how it has been done in each subsequent year, 2014, 15, 16, 17, last year, up to this year, where we are having this kind of a problem. Perhaps a more elaborate opinion that they should have sought is what happens when mediation collapses and you get to this particular time of the year where a financial year is beginning. There is already an appropriation bill that has been assented to, though it is 50% of the entire budget, but we haven't agreed on what will be the final figure of the amounts of money that will be sent to the counties. It's something that maybe the courts may need to pronounce themselves on, and that will help the country with regards to what to do. Perhaps for me, not trying to guide how the courts should rule in that regard, but they should ensure that there is absolutely no appropriations bill that is considered until first you agree on division of revenue. That will be a good reason, because so long as national government continues to function, they don't care about counties. So the easiest way is to make sure that nobody has a chance to function, so that people come back to their senses, they sit down and they discuss. I can assure you, Debarl,
yes,
if it was the national government that was starved of funds, the solution to this would have been found a long time ago. But since it is counties, people just lazy around. Nobody wants to take the hard decisions.
All right, let's say from Otenda Molo, 110, this is where we come to you to pull out now the Constitution, as you want to. You can maybe expound that for us as
He
well.
already has it.
Oh, he already has it.
Well, I will actually spare you the detail of the Constitution and speak to the principle.
Yes.
Because I think this is a matter which requires sobriety at a principle level, rather than at the exact dots and commas in the Constitution. It is my view that there are certain matters which ought not to be brought to the judicial sphere, because they are matters which are best agreed upon. We who practice in the courts all the time know that once you're in court, it is a winner-take-all. Somebody will have to lose seriously, somebody will have to win seriously. And that is not good for intergovernmental and institutional cooperation. So 3 things, for example, that should never have been brought to court. One is that issue, that case that has just been brought. Because I actually support the Senate on this. Because if the Senate is seeking more funds for the counties, and under Article 96(1), the primary role of the Senate is to protect the county and to protect the interests of the counties. It is one area where we ought to allow that space. Now, taking this matter to court, that now you have governors on this side, and then you have the senators supporting them, you have the members of the National Assembly, and then you are waiting for the court to determine to you how to move, is not appropriate. The spirit of the Constitution, including in Article 189 and its generality, is that those of us who are tasked with responsibility, including given certain powers, should exercise it in the context of cooperation and understanding.
Yes.
It is the same understanding that it is unfortunate that, again, the question of the MP's salary and all, which should have be resolved by the Parliamentary Service Commission and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission away from the court, is now ending up in court, so that it is the court to tell us. It is quite unfortunate. The same way, we are also in court on yet another issue, the question of the new notes, whether they are lawful tender or not. Either way, those are things that should have been resolved amicably, including by the Central Bank of Kenya, so that we are not at risk. Can you imagine the risk now we are facing, having printed all these monies, if the court were to interpret the Constitution and say that the new notes as printed are not legal tender? The cost that we have already incurred is immense. The point I'm making is, all of us who have the opportunity, and especially leadership, the National Assembly, the Senate, at the level of the governors, we should be more embracing and we should be more objective, and we can actually have these things resolved. The way at one time there was those tensions between the governors and the senators, and when I was ombudsman, I initiated a mediation which successfully reduced those tensions, and they went away without having to go to court to pronounce itself. So I think it's unfortunate that we are now trying to make non-justiciable issues taken to court so that we can get pronouncement from the court.
Right. So you think this particular bill also, the determination of the nature of bills, procedure bills, 2018 by Mutula Kilonzo, is called for at this particular moment?
What is called for is bigger, and I've made this point before. The way this Constitution is structured, there should be no reason, there should be no time when the Senate and the National Assembly are at such loggerheads that they cannot work together. Because the Constitution itself envisages channels of mediation and negotiation that should succeed. The fact that it completely flops speaks to our collective failure, especially in terms of leadership. That's the point I'm making. So even if you initiate a bill in the Senate and the National Assembly does not adopt it, then where are you still going with that? Because the expectation is that we are supposed to work together.
Yes.
In fact, the interpretation that the Supreme Court gave on these matters almost automatically causes involvement of the Senate in any lawmaking. And the Senate itself cannot initiate any matter that will become law without involvement of the National Assembly. So whatever you initiate should be initiated with a common understanding of both houses. Then it will succeed. Otherwise, it merely propagates the standoff.
Okay. Senator Wamatangi, briefly on this?
Yes, Debarl. I would be asking a few questions.
The operative word is briefly.
Yes, that's all right. You know, brief is subjective. But
Well is here, just to remind you.
But Debarl, please don't interrupt my thoughts on this because you know I'm a senator and this goes right into the heart of what I've been elected by the people to do.
Yes.
So if there's anything I would speak on, it's this one and not speak on anything else in this sitting this morning. It is on this because that's why I'm in the house. And you know, I would start by wondering, you know, if we allow the kind of legislative impunity that you are seeing right now. I mean, in view of for example, if the provisions of Article 218 can be so flagrantly disregarded and abused, when the law, the Constitution is very clear on what happens at the introduction of division of revenue. If Debarl, when the law provides, and this is what we would need to be asking ourselves, that the amounts to be disbursed to counties be based on the audited accounts of government. And we are comfortable to say that we are arguing about an amount that's being sent to counties that is based on the accounts of 2014, when we're in 2019. That indeed, if it is, we are true to what should have been done right now, we should have been talking about disbursing more than 500 billion. But we are arguing about you know, disbursing what is not even what we are supposed to do. And I want to differ a bit on some of the views expressed by my colleagues here. You know, Debarl, for example, governors are direct stakeholders in this thing. And I want to say and state very clearly as a senator that on a matter like these ones, it is time the Senate itself decided what it wants to stand for. Because, and especially Senate leadership, this question of taking this matter, we did this sometimes in 2014. We moved to the Supreme Court over the same matter. Before, the division of revenue never used to come to the Senate until when the Supreme Court expressed its opinion and firmly stated that we have a role to play. That's when the division of revenue started to be brought to the Senate. If then the same impunity is reintroduced in a different way, whereby you find that a few people in the National Assembly can decide that this law is not supposed to be followed. And I want to, with due respect, also disagree with my good friend Otiende Amolo, even as well versed as he is with the law. And we are also versed with this law because we're in Parliament. But if you have continuous disregard for the law, then where do you resort to if you don't go to court? Because this argument has been, we had a process that started in Parliament. There was discussion, it failed. We went to mediation, it failed. There was a reintroduction of the discussion, it failed again. And so counties don't have money. That's the end of the story. And there is no foreseeable light. And so what do you resort to? A sit-in in Parliament or a closure? You have to make the next agreeable and acceptable route, and that is move to court. That's what we are supposed to do. So what I'm saying is this, that indeed, as a senator, I find it, you know, unwelcome. It's unbelievable. I say that, Debarl, that governors have to take the role that we should have taken ourselves. We are the ones who should have been on the street, going to court. We are the ones who are aggrieved. This division of revenue was disregarded when it was introduced in the Senate, not in the Council of Governors. They have just come to rescue or to deal with the situation that we should have dealt with before ourselves. And so I want to call out to the Senate leadership. There are times when you must stand up to be counted, or whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
So the Senate leadership
because you see,
is sleeping on the job.
Debarl, I mean, what else would you say? If this matter failed in the Senate, if it is the Senate that has been carrying this baby and has been disregarded, we should have been the ones in court and saying that this cannot continue. That our word has got to carry the force of law it's supposed to carry. As far as the Constitution
is Senator Wamatangi's word really surprising you this morning?
No, because I think he's saying we are sharing the same thoughts. I think something, Debarl, must be sorted out. Here is a scenario where, you know, despite all the legalities and the disregard for the law by the National Assembly, people are dying. We need medicine in hospitals, we need roads, we need services as a people. So that the semantics in Parliament are not relevant to Kenyans. What we need to do going forward, Now that we are saying we want to go for a referendum, we need to make either of the two decisions. Either to make the powers of the Senate equal to those of National Assembly, and then this mediation committee must not be members of parliament. They need to be invitees. But a neater way to do it is to make the Senate superior to National Assembly. We can't have people that we are paying money and they are senior in their nature, they represent bigger constituencies, and the people who represent a constituency of 1.5 by 3 kilometers are making decisions on, they just put them down. You cannot do that to senators and governors. Governors need money to work. Governors, most of these governors are from counties which did not even have a district. They are working under extreme circumstances, very difficult. So what I find ironical is that there are members of National Assembly who want to be next governors. Suppose there is not going to be constitutional change. They want to be next governors, but they are participating in making their future difficult. Why is it that an MP who there's no MP who has spoken against this nonsense? No member of National Assembly. It is not for senators and governors to be together. Of course, they must be together. But members of National Assembly must give this country a break. But lastly, the Speaker of the Senate is a former governor. The Speaker of the Senate is a former governor. I think he needs to up his game. He knows the suffering. He can do better than he is doing today.
Right. Aaron Chiriot, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, the most unfortunate thing about it is that you can argue for what is right to do in the courts, what is right to agree on, but the basic thing, Debarl, that shouldn't escape the mind of Kenyans is that in all this debacle, the National Assembly is telling the country that in the last financial year, they devolved 314 as shareable revenue. Between that time and now, revenue has grown, and there is evidence to that. What we are collecting is more. Yet they go ahead and publish a bill of 310 billion, a reduction of 4 billion Kenya shillings. And all the 350 members of the National Assembly, not a single one goes on record opposing it on the floor of the House and saying, this cannot be right. You know, members of National Assembly must distinguish between differences with your governor and senators and devolution. We all mean well for devolution. We can have our little squabbles here and there. It's not that governors are our best of friends as senators, and we have said as much to that, but we believe in the cause of devolution. We know what it has been able to achieve for the country. We know that the reason why devolution is not taking off to the levels that Kenyans expected it to be is because of continuous underfunding by the national government. Therefore, we are asking our colleagues in the National Assembly to please rise above. And that is a word I have told Adan Duale, that is a word that I have told John Mbadi, that you do not have to like your governor to support devolution. The two are completely different entities.
Thank you. Let's hear from Boni Khalwale before we take a short break.
At the bottom of this dispute, there are two things. The first one is impunity, and the second one is CDF. For as long as we continue allowing members of parliament to collect, to control a fund, you set them in competition with governors.
But ideally, they're not actually meant to actually control this particular fund in the first place.
So, may I? So, because of the unconstitutional arrangement today that allows members of parliament to be in charge of executive functions, i.e. controlling CDF, they'll continue fighting the governors. The MPs are not fighting senators. They are fighting governors because they want to go back in the county and say, in my sub-county, I'm doing ABCD, and therefore, at the end of this term, I would be the best person to become MP, to become governor. That's exactly what is on the mind of many of these members of parliament, especially Mbadi, a man who I respect. I understand he thinks that, I suspect he thinks that if he succeeds in his constituency, by managing CDF well, he'll convince the people of Homa Bay that I'm fit to be your governor. Perish that thought.
But
the second point,
we need to get
Can
an understanding.
I finish my contribution?
Okay, finish.
Everybody is very excited about this one. Now, what do I mean by impunity? Impunity is that there is no ambiguity. The Constitution is very clear in 189, and it is very clear in 218. In 218, it speaks to how the bill of division of revenue should actually be processed not through one house, but through parliament. Nowhere in 218 do we speak of that bill being handled in the National Assembly. The article clearly says it should be handled through parliament. And parliament means the Senate and the National Assembly. That is impunity. That Speaker of the National Assembly is allowing such an important role to be transacted without being referred to the Speaker of the Senate. And I'm glad that the guru, the legal guru here, is agreeing with the senators on this one. That impunity must be addressed. Number two, 189. Article 189 speaks to the cooperation between the two levels of government. And that's why you had the Deputy President over the weekend appeal to both senators and governors that there was no need of going to court. Because in Article 189, it is clear that when there is a dispute, it should be mediated over by cooperation between the two levels of government. Look, I was so disappointed when I saw Professor Kivuda Kibwana and Professor Nyong'o on the front line of that activism yesterday of attempting to go to court. They are going to seek for orders which have already been given. The legal opinion that they are seeking from the Supreme Court has already been given. So why do they want to go a second time? They are wasting time. They are wasting public funds. Finally, there's the issue of mediation. The Constitution speaks to this fact very clearly, that when the two houses have not agreed on the division of revenue bill, then they should form a mediation committee. And the decision of that mediation committee, it holds once the decision is made by the majority of the members of the mediation committee. The senators and the members of the National Assembly are represented on the mediation committee in equal numbers. So where there is majority, then the report is taken to the two houses, again by majority. The two houses will then adopt the report of the mediation committee.
Thank you.
Why have they refused to go through that process? That is what is in the law. Please take over and clarify.
Could we just take a short break, then we circle back with you? And also to get clarity, is an MP supposed to be the custodian of CDF as it is right now? Right, you'll speak to that as well, because there's meant to be a committee and of course elected the chairman to be handling the CDF. But we see, as you're mentioning, some MPs that really want to, take the CDF, run with it, have these projects, and there has been also a contention between governors and the MPs when projects are being launched. They're saying, oh, this is from our CDF. The governor will say this is from, the county's funds. So everyone is really, gagging for that, position to actually be seen to be doing something on the ground as well, and this is creating a rift. We take a short break right now. When we circle back, we continue with more that we shall be looking also on the betting and gambling, also the untamable Tanga as well, and who's playing rough on Tuju. That is also a probing question we'll be asking our panelists as well on the other side of a break. Don't go away.
children bring joy to our lives, but they grow up so fast. Soon, it's time for college, and by that time, college fees can be a huge expense. For as little as 3,500 Kenya shillings, Educare combines life insurance with savings for college. Download the SE mobile app, open an account and start saving now. Be life ready.
Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7, and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook at Nation FM, Instagram at Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FM KE. Nation FM. More music and less talk.
Are you looking for a university or tertiary institution that fits your needs? Join us at the Career Fair by My Network Magazine on 3rd August 2019 at KICC from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The theme is Technology, Education, and the Future. Entry is free. Join us and get the opportunity to interact with institutions of higher learning, tertiary institutions, and career guide experts. Lots of fun and entertainment throughout the day. 10 Republic will be live on ground. For more information, call 0707 871 918 or email projects@ke.nationmedia.com.
Leo alikuwa smart, amevaa mpaka suti na ako very serious. Alikuwa very focused.
You are working in my club, haufanyi kazi kwa other sectors.
Mazejemo misteri ametesa kutesa. Ako di center page.
Sasa unaniambia ndio?
Umesikia breaking news?
Kama ni ujumbe, andika kwa leso itamfikia sawa.
Usiniongeleze matope. Vitu zangu zilikuwa pale na wewe ulikuwa hapa. Sasa haziko zimeenda wapi?
Wewe kama umeshindwa na biashara, urudi Meru.
The Real House Helps of Kawangware in association with Telkom.
Join Telkom today and share life on our expanded 4G network. Telkom, moving with you.
When you meet a Luo carrying his briefcase, don't ask him whether he's going to work. Those don't go to work. We attend to professional commitment.
Gangster, main rule. Avoid eye contact with your fans. Mutazoeana.
Mtu ako na homa, lakini kusiniza na sneeze, unashindwa hii ni homa ama ni nini? Unasikia,
December babes, haki si mnatusumbua. Hati yo sijui calm down is my birthday. Sijui all people were born the same but legends were born in December. Mbona mnajisikianga hivyo ama mnaonanga mkikaa kale kamkate ka mwisho?
Nani? Shetani machana
Shetani mugani? Shetani mugani? Tebu tuone shetani mugani?
Johnny.
Oh, kametokwa ho.
Welcome back. You're watching People and Politics here on AM Live. We continue with the conversation apace. Before we took a short break, we'd interrupted the thoughts of Otiende Amolo, and he was still to comment also on the division of revenue bill. Otiende,
yes, I was just going to comment lightly, following up from where Senator Boni Halwali left, former senator, that looking at the Nation, looking at the Star, looking at the Standard, and we see this array of governors and deputies and a few senators, most of them from the Jubilee wing, it appears that we have also now devolved the right to demonstrate. There was a time that only those of us from ODM and NASA used to do these demos, but I am happy that now, I'm surprised that Dr. Lwale didn't join them. But secondly, it is important. And then secondly, I don't know if one can say as Bonnie Halwale is saying, and I think my friend Jacomi Dio, that part of what's causing the problem is that there are many more members of the National Assembly who want to be governors than there are in the Senate. At the last I checked, relative to the numbers, I think there are more senators who are angling to be governors than members of the National Assembly. And in fact, it is that angling that has caused Bonnie Halwale to be here with me now. He would still have remained senator, but he wanted to be governor. And there are many in the Senate like that. I think this, in any event, should not be about who wants to be governor.
I'm going to answer
because anytime you starve counties of money, you are not punishing the governor. The governor's salary will still come. It is punishing the citizens who are in that county. So that should not be the motivation at all. But thirdly, it is not quite true that as a member of parliament, we control the CDF. Indeed, the act was amended in compliance with the court directive, which is why in the first place is now even called the National Government County Development Fund. And as a member of parliament, now I have much less say than Halwale and Jacoy and Wamatangi before the act was amended. In fact, the irony of it right now is that while everybody believes that as a member of parliament you are in charge of the CDF, you're actually quite away from it. I don't see those checks. I don't sign any check. My role is as a patron at a very different level. They even elect their own chairman, who are elected after those people are elected by the citizens. But I think lastly, where is the problem? Well, at the end of the day, for all the advice that Dr. Halwale has given Aaron Cheruiyot and Senator Wamatangi, I wish they gave this advice in-house. Because at the end of the day, both houses are controlled by Jubilee. That's why the Jubilee is the majority in the Senate, the Jubilee is the majority in the National Assembly, and therefore, if those two houses cannot work together, and they can't, Jubilee as a party must accept responsibility for that.
Right. Briefly on this, as we're winding up, I think Aaron Cheruiyot, I've lost my sequence here.
No, just a quick 10-second information about it. Much as members of the National Assembly will try and deny their involvement with the CDF, nothing could be further from the truth than what Otiende is telling you. The truth is that members of National Assembly are right at the heart of CDF.
Thank you.
In fact, in this time, and this is the irony and the hypocrisy in the National Assembly, at this point when they are proposing to reduce money going to counties from 314 billion last year to 310 this year, they have grown CDF from 110 to 130 million per constituency.
Exactly.
This is financial year. So you're reducing money that is going to the counties, but growing CDF.
Exactly.
That's a hypocrisy in the National Assembly.
Okay, and the management of CDF, I think we should also make Kenyans be aware and clarify the CDF. Who is the custodian of the CDF as it is right now? It is NF, is it?
National government. They created some
amorphous CDF something
there. But
yes. Could you get clarity on this?
Yes, Debarl, it should be the national government. But the members of National Assembly have refused to let go
of the CDF.
nation that they are controlling it. In fact, to disagree with Otiende, in his home county, there are two MPs who are followed by Anti-Corruption Commission. They are always in and out writing statements over theft of CDF, and he knows it. So Otiende, how would somebody who has nothing to do with CDF be writing statements of theft? And lastly, just to it is all over the papers every day. So I don't want to do that because some of them may be accused of having interests. But Otiende cannot misrepresent the fact that Bonnie and I said there are more senators or more MPs who want to become governors. All we said is that there are MPs in National Assembly who want to become governors, and they are silent, and they are very loud. They are in these teams which are Tangatangaring and Kelewekering, and they are not defending the county funding.
Thank you. Wamatangi, let's wind up on it.
Debarl on that one, the creation of that amorphous body, that national government CDF thing, was supposed to address the matter that was in court and kind of create a smoke screen, because the matter that was taken to court was that this is a national government function. Members of National Assembly should leave it. And so they created that jargon of a body and an amorphous act that is intended to protect the interest. If you want to know who is in charge of CDF, then go to their projects during the launch and see who is launching the project.
Yes.
It's not the chairman. It's the member of the National Assembly. So the fact is that
which
law,
ideally should not be the position.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so the facts are this, that in law they have jumbled it up so that they can hide behind the act, but de facto they are the ones who are in custodians. But in all the mess and all the mire, it is probably also noteworthy to say, as a matter of fact, some of the most effective projects at the grassroots level are CDF projects. I mean, CDF projects really, at the word go, changed a lot of things, on ground. That's when we started to see more sense and more probably grassroots attention to things like small security within police posts and a few other, even ECD before we had devolution. So some of the projects that were run under CDF were really very, very effective. The problem is the administration, and I think the sooner members of National Assembly realize that yes, CDF can remain under the control of the properly allowed system of law under our constitution, then development will still happen and there would still be legislators. I mean, other than probably trying to... So at the end, what I wanted to say is that I think Bonnie is right to the extent that that contention and taking advantage of the fact that they have control of CDF for them to angle for positions is a reality. And I believe indeed that is what has given them the courage to to wage that kind of impunity we've been seeing, they can say anything. And they know that they can twist national government. And that is the big spanner they have been carrying. They say, fine, give us our CDF. If you want to have the division of revenue passed without involvement of Senate, we'll bring it, we'll do it. If you don't, we are going to also shoot down your law and impeach your members of cabinet. You had it during the discussion in National Assembly. The leader of majority saying that any cabinet secretary who appears before a Senate committee is going to be impeached. I mean, that's how it's gone. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think...
and a lot of pilfer, especially when it comes to bursary, because I was in a conference somewhere and this person didn't know that I'm a journalist. And I was, overhearing them really talking about a certain MP of a certain area that wanted some 500,000 stashed in. Actually, it was in his account. And when now this particular district education officer threatened that he's going to expose the MP, the money was withdrawn. So money is also with the bursary funds are not really going down to the people who should be, the beneficiaries of this bursary as well. So under that guise, or creating pseudo sort of colleges as well to, try and pilfer these coffers as well. But let's just wind up on that.
Yes, just one point. I wanted to plead with my brother here on my immediate right. I have nothing personal about members of parliament. In fact, I respect them that much. But the truth is, when John the Baptist came before Jesus, upon the arrival of Jesus, John the Baptist did not say, I want to continue doing my work when Jesus is doing his. CDF was the precursor to devolution. So having handed over to devolution, CDF should be wound up and county governments urged to do a proper job so that what CDF was doing informs how they would do projects in respective sub-counties. Let me give you a real life example. New Shibakala Primary School and Shamiroli Primary School in Kakamega received 2 million shillings each from CDF. And the member of parliament, I'll not tell you the name of the sub-county, but I've told you the name of the schools. The member of parliament followed the money and collected the money, and they spent. The stakeholders have gone to police, they have reported. The member of parliament has been arrested. They attempted to arrest him, he ran away. They have asked him to come and record a statement, he doesn't come. So when an impeccable professional like my brother Otiende speaks that he has no role, I believe him. But many of the MPs are doing all manner of silly things. You can imagine, I'm telling you, New Shbakala Primary School and Shemirori Primary School, the MP follows the money and collects the money and goes back with it.
And that has been the trend, and I think that has to be called out and really castigated.
That must be called out, and I agree with Bonnie on that. Jacob mentioned other instances, he didn't say where. But the point is this, those are instances of corruption and out of theft, which is not lawful. We can't use the unlawful use of monies allocated to castigate that allocation. Because if that was so, even national government right now would not get any money. If that was so, the money we are talking about that should go to counties would not, more than half the counties, lose money on pilferage, which is the truth. So the governors, members of parliament, I'm the first to admit, even people who are not members of the parliament have involved in this. On those ones, we must tighten the screws. Like when you say, Debarl, that there are instances when somebody has allocated 500,000 for bursaries and they want to withdraw, I cannot even imagine how that happens because the law requires, and this is what we do, that when bursary monies come, you invite everyone to apply, and then there's a vetting committee that sits down and then allocates the bursary, and everyone by name who has been allocated must be published. And we usually do that. So when you publish, I don't know then how you leave an account for like 500,000 if you try to purify it. So I think that what we must do, by the way, the idea of CDF, there are some areas where CDF works even better than the money given to the counties. I think that is true. You know that. So yes, we need to tighten this so that the monies are allocated, are spent as they ought to be spent.
Okay. Jacob, you wanted to say something briefly?
No, but I thought now Wakili is admitting that MPs are involved.
No.
When you publish, when there's a vetting committee, I mean, you're talking from both sides. So
that's the way it's done.
That's how it should be done.
That's how it should be done. And it is good to tell viewers that the reason why the noise is being made by even, especially the media, what you're raising, Debarl, is because MPs cannot deny counties funds, then at the same time misuse CDF. Then they're leaving the citizenry without options.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me just read one or two tweets, then we continue with the discussion. We have Haji Bulo Jr. Haji actually is also an assistant county commissioner of Wajir, if I may remember. Okay. He says, always morning at Otenda Mall, always debate soberly and fairly when his party or party leader is not involved. On a serious note,
that is so true.
When he's watching, he got it spot on. And he says, on a serious note, no need also to go to court on this issue because it will negatively impact on devolution and intergovernmental relations. Okay, Andrew Franklin is asking, please ask Senator Wamatangi to return the illegal allowance payment. Thank you. Which one is this? Is it or is mixed up with the house allowance?
I've not been paid in the house allowance, like I said.
But you promised to bring your, last week you promised to bring your pay slip.
You have done very well to bring that discussion because I think you owe me and Otiende Amola an apology.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know, not just a minute.
We're coming to that.
Up, so don't take it away. You brought it up. You know, you owe us an apology, and you have to put that apology today actively on social media by NTV because we made our views here known in a very open and sincere way. But you picked snippets of what we were saying in a huge analog of what we were trying to portray. I mean, there is nowhere at all I said that I support those parks that were being advocated for. Indeed, the first statement I said was I have never actually claimed any allowance myself for any travel I've ever made locally. And people are told go and claim mileage when you go to Naivasha. I have never been paid a penny. And I also stated that I'm an entrepreneur. I started doing business before I was ever elected. Way in the 1990s. my friend. So I said, this is how I fund my activities, my foundation. I've been donating, and I said, so for purposes of clarity,
Yes.
that leave this to those that are supposed to do it. We have a PSC and so on. But then immediately, once we leave here, we see social media full of clips that emanated from here. And Otiende Amolo, Otiende Amolo said a few things. But just let it finish. I know you will help me, but this is important to me because when you create the wrong impression, but by picking a whole analogy and you pick just 2 lines of what we've said, then it gives the wrong image. And see, Debarl, on a very serious note now, we come to this forum and we have been, I would call myself gladly the grandfather of this forum now. With Boni Halwale, we're the ones who have been coming here. We come here in good faith, and Jacob Midiwo. We come here in good faith. So that we can have a national debate that is enlightening, that can give different views, but also that can sober up the discussion on politics and how things impact on our population. That's why we sacrifice our sleep and other business.
Right.
So I also want to say to your other back office staff who do probably either the editing or picking of these snippets, that they also have to carry the same good faith. They should not play politics with the words that we say here. It can be very counteractive, and it could be taken for purpose of marketing.
Thank you.
What you want to say and make it popular.
All right.
But it costs us.
All
So
right.
please correct and put our view the way it is.
All right. Okay. Before we come to Otiende, because we have Christopher Omondi, and I think maybe weighing on the same issue, just to clarify as well, he's saying, please ask our Honorable Otiende why he had to say that he is more broke as an MP than before he became a one. Shouldn't he just resign honorably? And I think this is what we are commenting, that yes, the whole context was taken out of, the whole statement was taken out of context. Yes. So let's hear from you as well.
Yeah, well, I'm glad Senator Matangi has brought this up because it was one of those very interesting
You trended the whole day?
Yes.
And Omotangi was smiling. You see now, Omotangi was smiling along those statements.
First of all, I've learned my way. Not to carry things the way they're not
I think
supposed to
last
be.
week we started by wondering why there were like 4 pages dedicated to that issue when it ought not to have. And so when I then saw my comments put out of context and trending, I supposed that even this media house had now chosen to use us to push that agenda. I think the digital team must be fair to us, as Senator Matangi is saying, because we take time to explain things. Yes. And if you take only one statement that Dr. Halwale makes and you put it out of context, it can be completely misleading. Yeah. Last week, I was on this interview, and I said, and I repeat today, I did not support, I have never supported any increment of salaries by way of allowances or salaries to members of parliament. Mm-hmm. And I explained this because, in my view, having become a member of parliament, all the money you get in any case, usually you spend it within the first 7 or so days. Mm-hmm. So even when you increase the salaries, and I think that's where my colleagues need to be with me on this, public perception is against any such increment. And in actual fact, the difference it makes to your life is minimal. You will always come to your own sources. Mm-hmm. As Senator Matangi is saying, I come to the sources from my law firm to support the work, the things that I do. So I do not need that increment because it invites negative perceptions, but in actual fact, it does not make a difference to your life. I said that I have never been as broke as I am now, not because I'm saying the money I get is little, but because I use all that money to support the things I do. I even use my own money to support those very things.
Thank you.
So you don't need to increase it. But I also explained that the circumstances of members of parliament is different. I explained that there are actually colleagues who need that. There are colleagues who might need that. There are colleagues who do not get any support from other places. So the question of interpreting it as if I was supporting the night allowances and salaries and suggesting that I should resign if I'm not satisfied is wrong, because I am satisfied. I spend that money happily, and I'm happy to spend it. You know, I think those who've been members of parliament, like Dr. Halwale, Jacob Midiwo, know that you can never really accumulate any money as a member of parliament, but it's a life you choose. You choose to receive that money and impart it. The day you choose not to, then you stop running. It is not the same thing as saying increase our allowances and salaries.
Thank you.
I don't.
Right, thank you. So, yeah, on behalf of the show,
this is very important. Before you apologize.
Yes. But how do you know I want to apologize?
Don't you dare to apologize. Because the digital team was not seated here. They were simply reporting, using tweets, on what was said here. We know that both Wamatangi and my brother Otiende actually said those things. Otiende said he's broke from the time he became member of parliament.
But you've heard him what he's saying.
No, wait. It is my time now.
Okay.
You see, if he is broke, so what? There are so many Kenyans who are broke. Being broke is a personal issue. So we are not going to drag our personal issues into how we conduct and manage affairs of the members of the public. The guy who has tweeted requesting Amolo Otiende to resign, that guy should actually be the MP of Rarieda. He's wondering if this guy went there to make money and he feels so emburdened that he has become broke. Let him resign so that that guy, patriotic Kenyan, becomes the MP of Rarieda. We have been faithfully in parliament for many years, and we have never imagined resigning because of being broke.
You know, Debarl,
that's 1 minute. Let's have a right to reply for Otiende in just a moment.
We will lose this. Dr. Halwali.
Let me just say.
No. Let me just say.
Let them finish. Yes.
Dr. Halwali, why we are saying that the digital team should be more careful is we were seated here with you and we explained. I even said here on text that my colleagues should understand that we go to parliament to serve, not to earn. When in that entire interview, the only tweet that arises is the one that says that I have never been as broke. It is out of context. Now, it is understandable that you have recently joined a team where therefore money might not be an issue. But some of us, even as we are still serving, money is still an issue. But it is not to say that we need more money. It is just to say that when you come to this job, and I understand that and I'm prepared for it, you don't come to earn to enrich yourself. You come to get money to help your constituents. That's all.
All right, thank you.
Maybe just
all right, and understand. No, we've got a lot of
one. I gave you a chance. Halwali mentioned my name, and he said yes, he did. We said those things. Then I just wanted to say quickly, and what Halwali says, and that's exactly what I explained, is that we said that, or I said those things in a narrative.
Yes.
A narrative.
A narrative.
And you just pick one line. And Bonnie, you know we respect each other. But I would be very concerned if you choose to make such comments for purposes of just looking popular. Yeah, or sounding popular.
Right.
It is very unfortunate.
Thank you.
If you'd say that. Because I mean, if that can be understood by anybody, why wouldn't you when you're sitting here?
All right, thank you. Yeah. And understand. I remember how we can actually take, maybe a text, even when we have it from the Bible and use it as a pretext, quote it out of context entirely. I remember someone saying, there was a preacher who also picked, a text from the Bible and he said, and Judas hanged himself. Then he flipped the Bible also and he said, go ye and do the same as well. You see, those are different statements. Actually read from, out of context as well. And it can be picked like that. And we do understand sometimes we can just pick that, take it out of context, or it can appear to be out of context. And so I take this responsibility as well to say we shall be more careful moving forward on how actually we also pick our tweets as well. So I think that is done. We settle. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on and we actually look at what is happening, especially with the Jubilee side, where Deputy President William Ruto has told off Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju, questioning the Cabinet Secretary's new role in the opposition circles. The DP, I should say, and his Tanga team have in the past couple of weeks called for Mr. Tuju's dismissal over claims of running down the party and failure to ensure a parliamentary group meeting is realized. Ruto's allies are calling for the removal of the Jubilee Party Secretary General and his replacement with guess who? Guess who actually should be now the Secretary General that they're suggesting? We'll tell you that in a few. But listen to this.
We know how desperate he is to be rubber stamped to be the next year governor.
Huyo ni Trojan horse ya ODM katika Jubilee. Anamshikilia Raila hapo ndani ya Jubilee.
Right, I just want to show you today's editorial cartoon so that you can also just get a snippet of what we were talking about this morning. This is the way it is today, actually captured there by Victor.
Which paper is that?
This is the Daily Nation today, Sunsets. And Tuju actually was in Rarieda. Maybe also Dr. Otiende Amolo will tell us what is happening. Were you in that particular forum yourself? And how can you explain this particular editorial cartoon that we have today?
Well, it's an interesting cartoon, but I think it's the highlight of the caption is the gentleman on the right who appears to be crying. And perhaps that's a depiction of the statements that you have just published.
But he's always crying. But today he has smoke coming off for his ears as well.
Okay, so those are your additions, that is always crying and now fuming. Let me explain that I think the attacks on Raphael Tuju on this score is completely misplaced. And the explanation, I think, is captured on the Star newspapers. I think it is page, which page is it? Page 6.
Yes.
Where Tuju has actually explained. I can tell you, and I take full responsibility, that Raphael Tuju was in Rarieda representing the president. I had invited the President of the Republic of Kenya to come and launch a youth talent center in his capacity as a UN Global Youth Champion. When the President then got engaged with the meeting that was the environment meeting that was going on, he asked Dr. Fred Matiang'i to represent him. And Dr. Matiang'i was to come with Tuju. And I met them, and we made those, the design of the whole plans. But Dr. Matiang'i could not come because another emergency arose, and now we went with Raphael Tuju. Me, as the member of parliament for the constituency, and Senator Rengo as the senator of the area. Tuju did not say anything except did two things. One, he read the speech of the president as it was. Secondly, his only general remarks to the public was that sometimes when we do politics, you should go slow, because some of you right now support Raila Amolo Odinga. Some of you do not and might not support the deputy president. But what will you do when tomorrow the deputy president and Raila Amolo Odinga shake hands? Those are very kind words. I think it's even kind to the deputy president. But now, that brings me to the point that, and I've said this before, if there's anybody who should be resigning, I think it's the deputy president. One, because instead of deputizing the president, he has drawn himself away so much that if the president cannot make it to a function, he has to look for another cabinet secretary to deputize him. If he was deputizing the president, he would have been the one in Rarieda on that day. But he has drawn away so much that the president does not have choices. If the president cannot make it, he has to get somebody else. So you cannot attack somebody who has come to deputy the president, because then that means you are not attacking Raphael Tuju, you are attacking Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, who sent him. And that is why I think it's quite unfortunate. Now, those are the circumstances of that journey.
Right, Aaron Chirot, so looking at that particular headline that we had yesterday, Ruto, rebel or warrior, you will not castigate us today. The media will be not castigated.
Well, not because of that headline, because that was an opinion where some people said, what he's doing is akin to being a warrior. Others, as will normally be the case of a politician at that level, but those also who don't agree with him and feel.
But why would he question the loyalty of the Secretary General?
Let me now that is the right question. You see, and maybe my friend Otiende doesn't know why many of us are calling out Tuju. And I'd wish to confirm to you, Otiende, that our calling out of Tuju has completely nothing to do with what he did in Rarieda last week. That was very much in order. I don't think anybody in their right mind has a problem with that, because we understand we are living in the handshake time and all that kind of a thing. But there are 4 primal reasons, Debarl, that I want to tell you today why. And I think I was among the very first members of parliament. You remember when we had the Mao debacle, that I gave out a press conference calling for the resignation of Tuju, because I found him to be grossly incompetent. But let me give you 4 reasons why Raphael Tuju should cease with immediate effect to be the Secretary General of Jubilee, the party that I belong to. Number one, in every by-election that we have had in this country after the August 2017 election, Raphael Tuju has frustrated candidates that wanted to run on Jubilee as a party. He frustrated our candidates in Embakasi. You remember the press conference that he issued and said, oh, in the interest of handshake and that kind of nonsense, we are not going. We had candidates who wanted to run on Jubilee in the Ugenya by-election. Raphael Tuju never allowed them. In Wajir, the last by-election that we just had, that candidate, Kolosh, when he was defecting from ODM to Jubilee, Raphael Tuju almost frustrated his cause. You remember those funny press conferences that he was giving when we were trying to get the members from the other political parties to support our candidate? That kind of nonsense cannot be allowed of a Secretary General. Reason number two, he has refused to receive new entrants into the party, including none other than Dr. Boni Halwale, who seated on my right. Instead of warmly receiving him to the party, he wants to set conditions for him that before you come into the party, Boni Halwale, you have got to stop attacking or disagreeing with Raila Odinga in public. What a shame. But number three, let me finish the ball. Learn to be patient.
We received Halwale.
Leaked tape that was issued a few weeks ago. Up to date, Raphael Tuju has not come out to publicly deny or engage in a conversation about the leaked conversation between Kim and Nyanja. Yet it goes down to the very foundation of why Jubilee was formed as a party. Jubilee was formed to try and cure tribal animosity and bring together communities that had for a long time, because of political reasons, lived in moments of suspicion and not liking each other. Yet our own Secretary General can dare go on record and speak the way that he was speaking. Fourth and final, you know, I do not like Edwin Sifuna. I do not like his juvenile antics. But I admire the precisions with which he prosecutes matters ODM. Despite the fact that we are in the moments of a handshake, you see Edwin Sifuna every other time when he goes before the public, it is so clear in his mind that we are a political party and we have competitors who are none other than Jubilee. You don't see that in Raphael Tuju. And therefore, when you do not have, when you have a Secretary General who cannot distinguish the role, you know, you have seen the explanation that Raphael Tuju is giving in the Star today. I want to tell you, Raphael Tuju, if you feel that what you are doing is serving the president, please resign as Secretary General of Jubilee and go and serve Uhuru Kenyatta, our party leader, as a personal assistant. Because that, he must distinguish his role. There is a difference between President Uhuru Kenyatta and him being the party leader of Jubilee. Jubilee does not belong to Uhuru Kenyatta or William Ruto for that matter. It belongs to the millions of supporters who support the party out there. And in fact, in my opinion, Debarl, this is a point that I've always made on this show, that part of the reason why our democracy doesn't thrive as it's supposed to be is because we have turned political parties into individual cults. And this is really unfortunate. In any thriving democracy, and I say this with a lot of respect to my party leader and his deputy, William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta are candidates for the disciplinary mechanisms of the party because of what is happening in Jubilee. If Jubilee was a serious political party, they would have faced the disciplinary committee and explained why we are continuing to face this, the kind of challenges we are facing as a party.
But the question to
what is so difficult in them carrying the membership of the party together with them with the vision they are trying to implement, be it with Tanga, be it with implementation of the handshake and any of the initiatives that they feel we need to be carrying? Why are they allowing members within their party to read from different scripts, yet they are our leaders?
Right, but people are feeling, or some quarters or pundits are saying that also the deputy president should have used the party structure to try and actually address this particular issue instead of taking on to Twitter and disparaging, you know, the Secretary General.
What was disparaging? It was just a question that he said, so our democracy is so liberal. You know, the newspapers that day had said...
But if you pick this particular tweet that here you said that, you know, Tuju of being opposition, you know, and then you have those scarecrows, opposition. Now opposition within the Jubilee party.
No, but
in essence,
the Daily Nation,
it really reads on
the Daily Nation that day.
Yes,
the Daily Nation on Sunday yesterday carried a story that Raphael Tuju is now among the chief strategists for opposition chief
Raila Odinga.
I have the Daily Nation.
So he went ahead and said, so you want to tell us that we are so liberal as a democracy that a Secretary General of the ruling party can now serve again as the chief strategist to the opposition? I mean, it was just a question. There's nothing disparaging about it.
All right, this is the Daily Nation, on the Sunday Nation, I should say. Says Common Quest for Unity has worked on the magic from head figure in former Prime Minister's camp. Swab Jubilee boss has joined Kitchen Cabinet as key advisor, point man in development projects, protector of handshake, and 2022 succession strategies. 2022 development is mentioned there.
So Debarl, yes. So when is Edwin Sifuna joining William Ruto to launch a government project? Because we are living in the handshake time as
let's open this debate for everyone here to just also weigh in. Somebody also is being anointed to be the next Jubilee Secretary General. Guess who? Boni Khalwale.
Kinwani wa Matangi.
It's Boni Khalwale. People are saying it's Boni Khalwale.
Which people?
Jubilee members. There's no problem.
Which people?
It will be a great honor. But we have it.
Since you have mentioned my name, it's only fair that I comment. I think tribalism in this country is truly real. When I listened to Orengo over the weekend, and I've just listened to my brother, Otienda Molo here, tribalism is real. That they can demand for the resignation of the president, deputy president, and preservation of Rafael Tuju begs the question, why? If the reason why you want the deputy president to resign is because he didn't come to Rarieda to launch a project that was to be launched by the president as his deputy, then you should also indicate that at that time, when he should have represented the president, he was relaxing on the beach, probably in Malindi, having an easy time as deputy president. That is not the case. At that time, when Tuju was doing what Ruto could have done for the president, the deputy president was not launching one, not two, not three, but launching several government projects across the republic. How on earth would he have the capacity to do all that he did on that day and also still find time to come and massage the ego of the MP for Rarieda and the senator for Siaya?
But we thought the government had actually stopped the launching of projects countrywide. What really happened to that particular statement from the president himself?
And what was Tuju doing in Rarieda? I think the newfound member of Jubilee here should tell us what Tuju was doing that he wanted the deputy president to come and do. So why I'm saying tribalism is real is because the tweet by the deputy president was not responding on anything else other than the fact that the mainstream media had reported that Tuju, the Secretary General of Jubilee, had become the master strategist for ODM in 2022. I mean, he responded to it. To me, when I read that tweet, and that tweet is here, you can read it to the public again, he was actually laughing at it. That has democracy become so liberal that the Secretary General of the ruling party can become the master strategist of the opposition?
Yeah. All right.
That he was just laughing it off. And then finally, it must be taken seriously. We are watching, and Kenyans are watching, that Tuju can have an intimate, long conversation on the phone with George Nyanja about what they said in that audio that was reported. And the DCI has not, since he likes telling the public what he's doing through the newspapers, he has not told us what actions he's taken against it. It only speaks to the narrative that somebody is pushing agenda that is meant to make it difficult for the deputy president to be elected president in 2022. What other conclusion can a thinking mind draw from that? Surely.
DCI was in Italy actually following the Kimorel dam.
The DCI is not one person. It's an office.
All right, let's hear from Kimorel Matangi.
If you allow me, let me make my comments on this issue as Kimani Wamatangi. independently. And yes, yes, and I'll tell you why I say so.
You've become an independent candidate now. You're joining Jacobi deal.
Let me finish. Let me finish my statement.
Oh, please.
Let me finish my statement because I have my own very good reasons. You know, I'm a politician who got elected in the year 2013. Before then, I had held other political offices in party leadership. And then not Jubilee. I was elected as the chairperson of PNU then in my constituency, which was then Kikuyu and Kabete combined. And then I was elected on Jubilee in 2013 and 2017. And that's the political vehicle in which I'm in. And Debarl, I can report here, as a matter of fact, that every time when I have been going around my county and around the country, there's a question people have been persistently asking me, sometimes in my own language, sometimes in Kiswahili, in English. In Kiswahili, people are asking me, hii kitu bado iko? Is it still there? And you know, this question of hii kitu bado iko is this Jubilee party still alive? Is it there? And you know, you remember when I spoke here the other time, I said, you know, I'm flabbergasted. I'm also dismayed at the speed and willingness at which, as a party, we have opted to hold on to and press hard on the self-destruct button. And there are so many questions that I don't know the answer to, all the way for any political leader right now, all the way from the top, from our president, the deputy president, all of us who are in Jubilee. You know, for all practical purposes, where do we expect to go in the year 2019? And we have until 2022 to run a country where we have been elected as a Jubilee government, if the first business we have engaged with is to destroy the party. And you know, my question, and this one, that's why I said, this is my mind as a person, not as a party member, but as a person. And say, if for example, people are waiting for services and they expect that there is going to be dialogue between the president, the deputy president, and all of us to come up with solutions which are real to real problems, for answers that we said we were going to give. Yet right now, everybody is holding on to their end. And if you listen to the whole media right now, if you listen to the talk in town, it is about the death and destruction of Jubilee. Who is going to benefit from this? And I'm starting now to believe the wisdom of the Waswahili when they said, ukiona mwenzako anyolewa, chako kichwa tia maji. We were here when we were all analyzing the death of NASA and what they did to die. And remember the heated debates here we had with Akina Miguna and everybody, and we have willingly ourselves decided to replay the exact narrative. And what I'm asking is this, Debarl. If we go even post-2022 and we have killed Jubilee, a party that we labored so hard to put to the acceptance of Kenyans, then who will benefit? If for example, the president exits his office in 2022 with a dead party that he worked so hard to formulate, if the deputy president goes to run post-2022 and to try and create a new party because we killed the one that we have, what benefits would we have? What chances does he have?
Thank you.
And so what I just want to conclude by saying, you know, Debarl, finally. Really, is that, you know, it is very sad that we have chosen the public arena as the platform where we want to address our issues. I mean, we have offices, a whole building in Pangani where you can go and sit from first floor to 7th floor. We have got so many venues where people can go and sit and talk about the things they are talking about. But we must also all realize that this has now become like Jonah's boat that was in stormy seas, and you don't know who to throw out because everybody now has qualified to be a Jonah. You know, and it is so sad that we sit here with straight faces and we are happy to speak about our own death. and even arrange how we are going to be eulogized as a party once we've killed ourselves. I think we must come to our senses all the way down, from top to down, and decide, do we want Jubilee or we don't want it? If we don't want it, let us kill it then and find a new political way. But we have to resolve the issues that the Kenyans have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That will serve also as our closing remarks. But let's hear from Jacob.
Debarl, it's nice to welcome Wamatangi to the independence. He's talking very nicely. Except Wamatangi is saying it's sad to preside over your own death. You are dead long time ago. I think Bonnie and I said here about a year ago that there is no more NASA, there will never be any more Jubilee. So it's just to deal with it, and I feel sad for Bonnie that he has gone to a dead party. That he wants to be Secretary General of a party that is so divided. Debarl, I think Tuju is an escape route. Because Bonnie, Otiende has clarified that Tuju went as a UN ambassador. And Tuju has done this for many, many years. I don't like Tuju very much. But I know one thing he does very well. He's always in government. Tuju was there when Kibaki was there. He was there when these Hague brigades came together. He is there now when Raila and Uhuru are together. He has this ability to understand that parties don't last. He has understood that there's no more Jubilee. He is not on the Ruto side. So instead of confronting Uhuru, the Jubilee Brigade are choosing on our son, who is very helpless, to try to destroy. I think he is wittier than that. I want to say that to advise the three Jubilee honchos here, the next Secretary General of the Jubilee, in the name of Bonnie, that it is just confront Uhuru. Uhuru has refused to accede to your demands for a party meeting because there's no party. Uhuru understands that his party is him and the handshake. He understands that. There is no more party. And even on the Otiende side, there is no more NASA. All those things are dead. There is corruption on ODM. There was corruption in NASA. There is corruption in Jubilee.
Thank you.
In fact, Jubilee is even worse. So I think the best thing is to craft a new future. Please, let's go to a referendum and make Kenyan politics clinical.
Right. Let's pick up this conversation during the next People and Politics because of time. And we'll actually be winding up. I said Wamatangi's will have been the last comment because also of the interest of time. Please, let's just bear with us.
10 seconds.
No, we'll continue. I know we can't take 10 seconds. I've had it before.
Let's take 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Okay. I'm timing.
Yes. Otherwise, next week we don't come.
Oh, okay. We begin with Bonnie?
Just do it.
Yeah, okay. Now let's begin with Otiende.
I want?
Otiende.
Very simple. My analysis is that there's Jubilee progression. The Jubilee side that is for retardation, the Jubilee side that is for progression. I think it is entirely up to you to choose which Jubilee you belong to. My brother here chose the wrong one, so we received him here. Don't cry that Tuju didn't receive you there. Thank you.
Actually, what Otiende is saying, you're on the retard side of the Jubilee.
I want to take this opportunity to ask the governments of the world to protect children of lawyers. Because lawyers appear to be using their legal persuasions to run away with murder. See the case of Esther Arunga. They murdered her child, and she protected the husband using her legal knowledge. And in Kenya, near her home, Nyakundi has murdered his son, and the family is also protecting him. So children of lawyers must be protected under a special provision, otherwise they are really, really exposed.
All right, two quick things. Two quick things. I can assure you that Jubilee is alive and strong. and watch this space. Let's
right.
speak about this in the next 1 or 2 months.
Oh, 1 or 2 months.
Finally, just one thing. On the Red Alert expose that was done by NTV, my goodness, how comes Cicely Karaoke, the Minister for Public Health, hasn't said a thing about it? You know, can you just imagine the torture that Kenyans have to bear with?
There was a reaction. There was a reaction. I think we read
Really?
that story yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe I didn't
Let's
see
hear from
it.
Jacomedio.
Jubilee is dead, NASA is dead, please support referendum.
Kimani Matangi.
Debarl, I would not want my comments to be misconstrued to mean that Jubilee is dead. What I'm saying is that, you know, ultimately we are well and alive, but we are headed to the hospital where we could be declared, you know, clinically and terminally ill unless we are careful. But if we have to kill it, let's just pass one test. The test of being promised that we are going to live until 2022 to do what we have to do. But our better shot is to be what we promised to be, a party of the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, and of course I'll leave you with this particular editorial cartoon, Jubilee self-cannibalizing. It is a sandwich, right? And you don't know who actually is being eaten there in between. Looking at that Tangatanga and Kieleweke sandwich, right? Or Matangi, as you say, it is in the hospital, but is it in the bakery? Right? They're eating that. Thank you very much for your valued company. We're watching People and Politics here on AM Live. We'll continue the conversation next week. And thank you to our panelists as well for that very informative, of course, entertaining discussion this morning. We really do appreciate it.